We are making Grandma's banana bread today. So you need 3 to 4 overly ripe bananas. You want some melted butter, so about a third cup of butter, and just pop that in the oven while your oven's preheating. About 3/4 cups of sugar, 1 large egg, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder, ½ teaspoon of cinnamon, and the flour, 1½ cups of flour, and then Grandma's secret ingredient of the nutmeg. I normally would use the small pie or the small ones, but mine are in storage, so it's getting a big loaf pan. And just a little tip, always wipe your aluminum pans down after you spray them, or your any pan really, and it'll keep them from getting gummed up on the edges. So you want to go ahead and just peel your bananas, and the riper the better. So if usually what I do is when we buy bananas, if we have some that get overly brown, I'll just go ahead and pop them in the freezer. I do not throw them away. I keep them because they make amazing banana bread, and they work better when you have ripe bananas. Making banana bread with my grandma was one of the things that I remember, one of the first things that we ever made together, from my recollection. And we'd sit there and she'd show me when to add things. And of course, I was just still learning, but I would always ask her in the kitchen, Grandma, tell me about the war. And she would start talking to me about, her time when Grandpa was in the war. And I'd ask her to show me her ration books, and she'd get out her ration books and let me go through them and look through them and see, what they were restricted in buying and how much they actually got. So great memories cooking with my Nana. So hopefully my great grandkids and grandkids will enjoy these cooking videos too. So once you get the bananas all peeled, just go ahead and smoosh them with a fork. Don't use a blender. You don't need to use a whisk. Just smoosh them with a fork. And you don't want them overly smushed. Just nice chunks would work. And you can get your melted butter out, and it doesn't have to all be melted butter, but as you can see, I tried to pick up a hot bowl with my hand. So yeah, using it, or use a towel or a hot pad. And just get that incorporated with your bananas. I guess I could have sped that part up. That's kind of a lot of stirring, but now you can go ahead and start adding in your other ingredients. So right here, we're adding in the sugar. And whip up that egg and plop that in there. It's a super simple recipe. Really, truly is. Get that nice and stirred up. Go ahead and get your vanilla. Charlie wants to help join the audio for the video. And your baking powder and your baking soda. Cinnamon. And I usually will do a little dash of salt in there as well. And then just give it a little love with that nutmeg. I really like nutmeg, so you can't really go wrong with that, but don't add too much because then it'll taste like pumpkin banana bread or eggnog banana bread, which actually does not sound bad. I might have to try that. At Christmas time, I'll do my papa's famous homemade eggnog. Oh, I can just crave it right now. It was a one-time grandpa would do something in the kitchen was to make his eggnog. All right, so once you got all your moist ingredients in, go ahead and throw in your flour. And there again, you don't need a mixer, you don't need a beater. Just go ahead and use that fork. And here's where you would also, if you were going to add chocolate chips or any kind of nuts, this would be the time to go ahead and add those in and get them folded into your batter. And this recipe is for one loaf, so clearly if you were going to make 2 loaves, you would double that recipe. I don't know why I didn't use a spatula, probably because I didn't want a dirty one, but truth be told, I probably licked the bowl because the batter's really good. Go ahead and pop that in an oven. And when you're done popping it in the oven, don't forget to take this opportunity to clean your workspace. Do your dishes, wipe everything down. And then go ahead and get a cooling rack out and ready to roll. And oh, yum. I had a little trouble getting it out of the pan mainly because I was trying to do too many things at once, and so I usually will run a knife. I didn't really honestly need to. It came right out even without, but if you find it sticking, then go ahead and just run a knife around the outside. It does take a long time to bake, 50 to 60 minutes. I think that was actually an exact amount for my RV oven too, so I don't think there was much deviation in that. Here's be the part where I'd say, let it cool before you cut it, blah, blah, blah. Or if you're like me, you just cannot wait to get that first piece. So look at that steam just rolling out of there. It's still so hot. It's so hot it was had a hard time cutting it, but it is just so good. And then go ahead and get that real butter, and voila, you have banana bread that is just so amazing. If you're liking what you're seeing, go ahead and click like and subscribe, and check us out also on the homesteading part.